Hello. Welcome to New Gameplay Today. I am your host, Wesley LeBlanc. Today we are joined by Marcus Stewart. How are you doing?
I am feeling fantastic because I'm watching my favorite thing in the world, which is people in tights simulating fighting and doing cool stuff.
Yeah, tell me. So this is WWE 2K23, right? And you recently went hands-on with it.
I did. I traveled to San Antonio the day of the Royal Rumble and got to play this quite a bit of this game actually for a couple hours or so, just with myself and then just other journalists. Even some wrestlers were there playing along too, which was cool. And yeah, so what we're watching right now is actually my gameplay. As you can see, I'm currently Seth freaking Rollins taking on the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, our 2023 Royal Rumble winner, by the way.
Oh,
and
is freaking his name, or is that like something you added?
No, that's if you can see his little nameplate, if you watch WWE, that's what they actually call him. It's like a nickname. Like
Okay,
he used
cool.
to call himself Seth freaking Rollins, and WWE like made it official.
Dang, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, just I have a larger preview on the site if you want to read, I guess, some more in-depth thoughts about what I'm about to say here. But I checked out some singles matches. Showcase was available, which is sort of the documentary mode that this year is centered on John Cena, who's on the cover. And I also played a bit of War Games, which is the new match type. We'll see a little bit of that here. So I will say right off the bat, in terms of like major changes to like the core gameplay, from what I've played, it's pretty much the same, which isn't terrible because I thought 2K22 was kind of a step in the right direction. And Visual Concepts, the developer, kind of said that, you know, they're sort of just building upon that foundation. So the game felt a little quicker, a little tighter, or some hit detection that felt better. But all in all, it's like, okay, this is that game. So, you know, that might be great news or bad news depending on where you fell on last year's game. The only big difference I saw was that they kind of reverted the pinfalls back to the sort of like stop the meter mini game, which I personally have never really been super big on. But they did say that it's optional and that you can change it back to the mashing button thing that they brought back last year, which is, as an old SmackDown fan, that was more my speed. You can see that I won there. Just want to point that out. I beat Cody Rhodes.
I wanted to ask real quick. So last year's 2K 2022, that was kind of like a comeback for the series in a way, right? Because like people were not happy with where it was going. And then did they take a year off, or am I misremembering?
They took about 2 years off because 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, 2019 was the last one. Then the pandemic happened on top of that game just not being good at all, like famously bad. So they took about like 2 years off and then came back last year. And yeah, I reviewed 2K20 for another site, and maybe one of the harshest reviews I've ever written. And 2K22 I thought was very nice. So we're seeing War Games here. This is one of the more exciting additions. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of this footage just because some of my footage got corrupted. So I'm just going to point that out for people that are wondering, like, I want to see more War Games. But you can play 3v3, 4v4. You can play with friends, which I got to play alone and with some other journalists. It's fun. It is that match, WWE's version of it, in case you have not or watched modern WWE and only know the WCW version of it, but it's the WWE rules, which is largely similar. But as you can see, they got the 2 rings. You can bring weapons into the ring when it's your turn to come in the ring. You can see it's a team-based thing where the other 2 teams wait in the little cages up there, and then every minute or so, another member of a team joins the match to kind of take turns. So if you have turn advantage, you'll always have like the one-man advantage, which is like a key element of the real-life match. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with this mode, especially when you play with other people. You can do some cool spots like jump from one set of ropes to the other to get to the ring. You can throw people from one ring to the other. You can, of course, climb the cage, and I think we're going to see Roman just toss Drew McIntyre like that. You can climb the cage and fight on top of the cage. You can do all kinds of fun stuff as Braun Breaker, our NXT champion, joins the match. And so, yeah.
It's just 2-on-1 now?
I see. Yeah, it's 2-on-1.
Oh, gosh.
But you know, whoever comes in next is going to be on the opposite person's team. So it's kind of like, just like in real life, like if you have turn advantage, it's a huge deal because you're always going to have the advantage until everyone gets in. So that's kind of like the drama of the match of like, oh no, now it's 2-on-1. Hopefully he can last until his buddy gets in to help him out, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, you also can't win the match until everybody's in. So they're not in danger of getting pinned. They're just going to take a beating probably, you know?
Oh, so they like aren't allowed to pin. You have to you just try to wear them down.
That's kind of what keeps it fair, right? If there's going to be a inherent disadvantage. But yeah, so far I think War Games is represented pretty good as we jump to a women's match here. You know, I didn't plan this. Obviously, I recorded this the morning of the Royal Rumble, but it's just funny that we see both of our Rumble winners because Rhea Ripley here won the Women's Rumble that night too, and we see Ronda Rousey there taking her on. But yeah, so far, obviously Showcase is pretty cool. It's very similar to last year of like the documentary, you know, playing through Cena's career, though it's got a cool twist where it's focusing on Cena's biggest losses. So you're playing his opponents instead of him, at least from what I saw. So like the debut match against Kurt Angle, which he lost, you're playing as Kurt Angle. The match I played first was I played Rob Van Dam when he beat him for the WWE title at ECW One Night Stand, which is one of his most famous losses. So it's kind of like the idea is like Cena reflecting on like what those losses kind of like helped him or defined his career and what he learned from them, and also like kind of idea of like, I'm gonna get those wins back, you know.
That's pretty cool that he like agreed to that, because I feel like other wrestlers, like specifically The Rock, I can not see The Rock letting a game go through his losses, but you know, good on Cena.
Yeah, Cena, I think, not hating on The Rock, but I think Cena's a lot more, I guess, maybe humble or maybe like flexible in that department, you know, like, sure. And, you know, for the people that don't like John Cena, you're in the Cena sucks crowd, that's probably a great premise of like, I can relive all the times he really just went down in a big way. I'm down for that. But yeah, overall, I'm, you know, the game kind of, from what I've played, I didn't play every mode, you know, that was in there, and didn't play with every superstar, but it kind of toes the line from last year's game. But, you know, last year's foundation was strong, so it's like, at least from what I can tell, if you liked last year's game, you'll probably have a good time with this one.
And so do you feel like it's reason enough to like buy the new one if it sounds so similar to the old one? It sounds like the War Games and the Cena stuff is probably enough for big wrestling fans to dip in for 2K23.
Yeah, like those are brand new modes, and then like some of the existing modes have been expanded. Like my GM has more general managers to choose from, and there's apparently new options for, you know, booking shows. That's sort of like it's basically like a run your own show simulator.
Okay, cool.
Like that's been expanded. The My Faction, which kind of just lets you create factions, has online play, and there's other like little tweaks to the existing modes, but yeah, I think those bigger ones, and of course the roster update is usually enough reason for fans to go out and buy the new game. So yeah, but we'll see how it all comes together. But at least in terms of the big new stuff, I overall had a pretty good time with it.
Awesome. And so when does this game come out, and where can people play it?
So it's coming out March 17th for PlayStation consoles, Xbox consoles, and PC, though I think if you pre-order the two like special editions like Deluxe and Iconic, you get like 3 days early access, so I guess release is 14th for them. But yeah, full launch March 17th.
Awesome. Well, that is WWE 2K23. If you enjoyed this footage, make sure to go read Marcus's full preview on the site. And keep us tuned to Game Informer, because I'm sure you'll be reviewing this game, huh?
I thought you were going to review it as the Ultimate Wrestling fan, Wesley.
I did actually see John Cena perform once in WWE like a long time ago when I was a kid, so I do have the chops to make it happen.
Thank you. You can play that showcase mode. You're like, I know all about this guy. I got this.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Marcus.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.